How to create your first relational database in Notion. So first, you just have to go to your Notion, add the page, and then for this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this relational database using this title, Financial Budget. You can simply add a cover. So add a cover first as your motivation. So you can add through Google link or a slash or paste the URL here. And then what you're going to do next is to toggle on this full read so that you can use the whole page. You can change the icon, you can add a comment here, for example, a word or something phrase that can uplift you or can motivate you or serve as a reminder for you. Okay, so what is this relational database I'm talking about? So, actually, by creating a connection between two distinct knowledge bases or databases, relations in Notion let you see and access information from one database inside the context of another, as simply as its sync copies of the same content and can be included on many pages thanks to this link database or this what we call relation. So you can make a dashboard with a task that have been allocated you from various databases, or you can use them to add filtered a view of team task in your meeting notes. So as you can see here, I have added like my income, okay, because we're talking about financial budget. So I have here income from my first database. Second, I have here fixed expenses. So as you can see, if you want to add a database, what you're going to do is to type slash and then type inline database, and then you can change the title here. So we have here income, fixed expenses, variable expenses. So I'm going to relate all of these databases later so that I can show you how this relational database will work here in Notion. Okay, so I have here savings and investment. You can add more if you want. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add my source of income. So for example, I have here monthly salary or wages, and then I have here my part-time job, and then I have here my business. Okay, so this is my source of income. For property that is not necessary, you can delete or you can edit property. For example, this tags right here. If I want to add property, tap edit property, and then for example, you're going to add like this is your status. Okay, you're going to add status, and then for the type you have to look for status. Here you can see if this one is in progress or if this one is done or not started, or you can change the option if you want. Okay, and then if you want to add something, so you just have to click this add, and then if you want to add date, just have to type date. For type, look for date, and then you will see here the calendar. Okay, and then you can select the specific date that you want here. For fixed expenses, I have added here my rental, and then my utilities, my insurances, and then a loan repayments. So I have here my fixed expenses. These are fixed expenses. So to add something property, you can edit this tag or you can delete this and then click this plus icon. So same thing, I have added status here so that I can track the progress of my fixed expenses. So I also want to add property like a checkbox. So I have to click this plus icon and then a look for checkbox here. Okay, and actually you can rename this. For example, necessary, not necessary, finish, not complete, not everything is up to you. So I can tap this if I already fixed this one. Okay, so I just have to click this box here or tick this box here. For variable expenses, I have added groceries, dining, transportation, clothing, household, medical, and so on. For tags, I changed this. Okay, so you can click this tag, delete, or you can edit property. And then again, I type status, and then type also is status. And then I want to add a property here. So for this time, I wanted to add a notes. And then for the type, I want this as select. Okay. So I can add options here like urgent, not urgent. Okay. necessary, not necessary. So if I tap this, then I can select if it's urgent or not. For savings and investment, I have added here emergency, retirement, and investment. Also for the tax, I changed its status. And then I wanted to add property. So I click this plus icon. And then I'm looking for amount. Okay. And then type is number. Okay. Click number. And you can be very specific with the currency if you want. You just have to click this number format here and then look for US dollar, for example. Okay. So if you want to add more, you just have to click this plus icon. And this time, what I'm going to show you is how does this property function. For example, if I go to income and click the status right here, I can select if it's in progress, not started, or let's just say done. So you can just simply tap from any of this given option here. For a date, of course, I can look for the specific date and then tap that with the calendar that we have here. So I can choose a date. All I have to do is to tap, and that's it. Now, to show you how this relational database works, what I'm going to do now is to click this plus icon and then search for relation. Okay, tap this. You can change the name if you want. But this time we're going to connect this or relate this to our savings and investment. Click add relation and you will see it right here. Savings and investment. So whatever we put here will also pop up or appear, or it will have an effect to your savings and investment. Let's just say for fixed expenses, okay, tap this plus icon, go to relation, and then we're going to connect this or relate this to variable expenses. Okay, add relation. We can tap one page or no limit. That means there's no limitation, of course. Click add relation, and you can see here variable expenses. So whatever you put here, it will appear on the variable expenses, as so with the variable expenses to your fixed expenses here. Okay, so same goes with savings and investment. If you tap this plus icon and then search for relation, okay, and if you want to add relation to, for example, income, okay, click add relation. So now if you tap this add relation, then you will see the savings and investment under the income section. Okay, you can change the icon if you want. So as you can see here, we have the income, and above under income, you can see your savings and investment. So if you tap this savings and investment, whatever you input under your savings and investment, it will appear right here. For example, for your monthly salary, this one is intended for your emergency fund, contribution, or retirement, or investment. Okay, so you can choose from any of the given option under or inside your salaries or savings and investment. Also, with a part time, this one is intended for your retirement. Okay, and then for your business, this one is intended for your emergency fund. Like you said, that's a good thing about this relation databases. Okay, so you can add more by tapping this plus icon. Same thing with your savings and investment. You can tap this plus icon to add something here. So whatever is input here, it will show up under your relation database. Okay, so next we will go to income. Okay, for savings and investment, as you can see, it's the same thing. So it's the same thing. You can add something here. Okay, so taps for business. This one is, or I will get this fund from my part time, from my monthly salary, and so on. Now let's do this for our fixed expenses. So here, as you can see, I added variable expenses as add relation to my fixed expenses. So whatever I input there inside or under my variable expenses, I can see it right here. So for example, I want to categorize my variable expenses to fixed expenses or the other way around. So for example, for my rent, So I can also include or I can add this as household supplies. Okay, for example. And then for utilities, I can also add this to household supplies. Okay, so this is just an example. And then for insurance, and then I can add this to, for example, medical expenses. And then for loan, I can add this to, let's just say, clothing and personal care items. Okay, but everything is up to you. You can add more if you want. Okay, so this is how you relate these two databases here. Same goes with the variable expenses. If it's have this fixed expenses here, and then you can see whatever you put or whatever you add inside your fixed expenses database. Okay, so that's it. And same goes with the savings. Now we have here this what we call a new template. For example, we're going to add this new template inside savings and investment. So we can rename or we can name this as um, other expenses. Okay. So this other expenses, I added this to savings and investment. So inside of this template, you can add your page or you can add all of the databases that you have added inside this dashboard or this template. Okay, so as you can see, I have added my variable expenses here. Okay, and then edit something like that. I can also add here my income and my variable expenses. So that's it. Now you can see here if I added something, for example, a new template for my savings and investment, then probably I can see the other template there. I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I want to rename this as other expenses. So if I tap this, then if I scroll down below, then I can see here the other expenses which I created earlier. Here I can see all the databases that I have added, and I can add more database by tapping this link view and then select the database or source that I want to add here. So it would be easier for me to locate everything, especially if I just want to open my savings investment and I want to view all the databases that I have created here in dashboard. Okay, so I can add more if I want to, but actually this is just a basic information on how to create or how to use this relational database in Notion. All you have to do is be familiarized with the property and be familiarized with the database that you want to create. And then after that, you just have to go to this plus icon or add a property and then click relation. Then you can relate a database or specific database to another or other database here inside your Notion dashboard. And whatever the progress or whatever you do in the specific database will also or will add an effect to that specific database that you add as relation to that current database. If you have found this video helpful, simply leave a like below or subscribe because it helps me reach more people. See you soon.